Hello and welcome. Hello there, I'm Andy from Twisted Narrative, and tonight we are playing Shadowdark. Not just Shadowdark, but Shadowdark, as I like to call it, Prime. The core game set in a dark fantasy setting, times undreamed of. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into introductions and straight into the game. That is hopefully what you have signed on for. So we'll just go clockwise. Matt, tell us a little bit about you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello, I'm Matt. I'm a writer, a collaborator of Andy's. We co-write on a number of things, and relatively new to Shadowdark. This will be my second or third time playing. Really enjoying the system so far, and excited to have another go at the Prime version and see how gritty and unpleasant things will get.
I love the way you said you are new to Shadowdark, and it's like your second and third game, and it's been off Kickstarter for about a week. So,
But in comparison to like yourself, who has been
well,
immersed in it for the last 3 months,
yeah.
you know.
No, I'm a little obsessed, but it's great. I'm really enjoying it, and it's going to be good. And if it goes well, if we feel this product is right, myself and Matt, we're going to collaborate, and we're going to bring um, this scenario to your door to drive through or whatever. It's going to be very much a starter game as well. Not quite a gauntlet, as they call it. They will be level 1 characters rather than level 0. And then we'll scoot around to a familiar face if you watch some of our other streams, especially our Shadowdark ones. Malcolm, please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Andy. Yes, continuing my play and experience with Shadowdark, both to gain experience with the system this side of the table as a player, but I'm also looking to start running it on a regular basis for a round the table live group. So I think this will be closer to the game that I will be running. So, not saying I'm going to steal all of Andy's great ideas.
They're there.
However,
No. I mean, this is. We're all stronger together, and you know, um, don't steal it. Have them. There you go. If
thank you
they're
very
any
much.
use, there's a lot of my ideas, believe me, that you'd probably screw up and throw out of the window. I come up with some crazy stuff, and you're aware of that. I mean, we've played Shadowdark quite a lot now, and I could have done the easy thing, which is the rules are brilliant. It's designed for a sort of fancy setting. Let's play Shadowdark. But no, I kind of go, oh, look, well, how about a diesel punk setting, and how about far future setting?
Yep.
This is the third sort of campaign, and we're actually doing dark fantasy. So I like to mix things up and do crazy. Last but not least, someone I've known for a very long time, and I'm super excited to get you to Shadowdark. Natasha, please say hello.
Hello, my name is Natasha. I live in the Netherlands, and I've known Andy through friends in Nottingham. I've actually started role-playing through Shadowrun instead of Dungeons and Dragons, which is not the usual way to go. And my second ever session of Dungeons and Dragons was one of Andy's 24-hour sessions,
Yeah.
which can drag me.
Baptism by fire, and yes, that's not a game played over a number of sessions that add up to 24. Now we played a game for 24 hours. I like to do crazy, as I've said.
Yeah, followed the next day by a 12-hour game.
But that's enough about us. I mean, we're here to play Shadowdark, and let's do it. So let me find my notes. The game is going to be set in a times undreamed of. In particular, we're going to focus on the city-state of Ib-Ihor. Ib-Ihor attracts all that studies the dark arts, for it is a lawless and chaotic place, with the priest-king Vag-Zago, who is the beloved of the dark goddess Shuni the Vile. There is, though, much money to be made serving the needs of these black-hearted weavers of magic. So many adventurers, sellswords, and mercenaries flock through its gates like moths to a flame. But that's not the only reason. Ib-Ihor is built on the ancient ruins of a civilization that predates history. And Many delve deep beyond the foundations of the city looking for prizes worth more than the ransom of numerous kings, but few return. Ibayori is a crucible of chaos, its name sometimes mispronounced more than once. With no standing city guard, thieves, assassins and worse are free to carry out their trade. The only thing which stands to stop them is the personal protections put in place to guard that is most precious to the individual. The city is in a constant state of change, the only law being survival of the fittest. Wealth and power change hands daily. Yesterday's enemy becomes today's friend, and allegiances change with the wind. One way the priest king keeps any civil unrest to a minimum is the games. There are many arenas and fighting pits throughout Ibhayor, and the grandest stands atop the very dungeons of Vagzago. Here, daily shows of death are put on to stifle the bloodlust of the populace. And here is where we will start our adventures in times undreamed of, in the dungeons of Vagdrago. So, the three of you, unconscious, it is black. Then you begin to breathe. You open your eyes, but it is black as a Stygian pit. The ground is cold, wet, covered in filth. You are not bound, not chained or shackled. You breathe, and I would like you all, for the very first time, to roll initiative. This is not combat initiative, this is a means of designing who goes first. So we'll go with the highest initiative, and then we'll just go round clockwise for simplicity. So that looks pretty good to me.
17.
17. How about Drago?
That is 15.
Okay, so Roger still has initiative, and last but not least, Thorsten.
Oh, I thought it came through. Apologies.
If it did, you can tell me a number.
To be frank, I missed it.
Okay, so roll again.
Oh, I apologise.
Okay. So we still haven't got anything from you, but I think it is unlikely that you are going to beat Roger. So we'll start off with Roger, go to Drago, and then move to Thorsten. As you come into consciousness, you begin to try and at least feel where you are. You, to the left and right of you, you can feel bars very close to you. The chamber that you're in is a smallish chamber, no more than 5 feet. To your back there is a flagstone wall, and to your front there feels, as you tap onto it, some kind of door, most definitely some kind of cell or prison. There is stuff dripping from above. It stinks of effluent. This is perhaps not the best place you've been. I don't know. You can hear to either side of you, though, breathing and the sounds of individuals coming into consciousness. What would you like to do for your first action? You are, just so you clarify, as you obviously feel around, sorry to interrupt, you are wearing rags, your underclothes as it were, really. You have no items upon you. Everything has been stripped from you.
Roger tries to stand up, and if the cell is lower than 5.5 feet, he will definitely bump his head.
Okay, so standing up part of your movement, and as you do, you have head clearance, which is good at the very least. This thing must be at least, you kind of raise your hand 7 foot, maybe even taller. You can't reach the ceiling, but there's something about you, Roger, something that becomes very apparent very rapidly. I believe you have a peg leg, a prosthetic. Is this right?
Yeah, that is correct.
And as you sort of stand up, your prosthetic gets stuck in something. The floor is not a traditional floor. There seems to be holes in it, and it's not jammed, but you can't see, but it makes you definitely unsteady on your feet.
Rogar curses loudly in the darkness when he tries to move his peg leg to a place where it doesn't sink in the floor.
Yeah, and it's confusing because you can't see. It's pitch black, and you move it around, and there's multiple holes. It's almost as if the floor of this cell is kind of got like a grate or a lattice work of metal with holes in it. You eventually steady yourself, but it is troublesome.
It probably he make the connection whereby there's stuff dripping down from above, probably the floor of another cell above.
Absolutely, it is a good connection to make. So you've steadied yourself. You're on your feet. This is kind of you moving about. What else would you like to try and do before we move on to another character?
He will try and make his way forward along one side of the bars and try and feel if there's anything in the cell next to him as well.
Okay, so yeah, it's say ahead of you's definitely wooden bound door. You can kind of feel that. Behind you, stone wall, but to either side bars. And do you want to reach to your left or your right?
Right side first, please.
Okay, right side. Drago, as you come into consciousness, something touches you.
Nah.
There's another one here. Sorry.
Hi. Who? Ow. And sits up.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly.
Hello. What happened?
Well, last thing I remember, I was staggering out of some tavern and I woke up here in the dark. Just like you.
Well, I was
no idea where I am. Sorry.
Okay. I don't suppose you've got a source of light at all.
Not unless you want me to set fire to my underwear. Nope.
Let's avoid that, I guess. Have we come on to my turn, or is there still more?
Yeah. So that's what it is. It's fairly fluid at the moment. I do like to try and keep the initiative because we're playing Shadowdark, but I don't want it to feel clunky.
It's all good. Then I will also slowly get up.
Yeah. Description very much the same, except because it's you, Matt, something horrible drips from the ceiling and splats on your head, sort of slides down your face.
Lovely. I take a 10. I wipe it.
Yeah.
Does it?
It spreads it around.
Nice. And is it thicker than just water dripping?
Oh yeah.
Oh great. I give a tentative sniff and probably instantly regret it.
Absolutely.
I will also try and just kind of carefully, arms out, try and place this individual that I have made contact with, and then try and feel around the space kind of away from them to just try and gauge.
Okay,
and see if there's anything on the walls.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can you roll me a D12, please?
Yes. Don't like this already. 11.
Yeah, you kind of feel the back wall and your hand catches something not catches something, but hits something, and you begin to sort of feel, and there's something jammed into the mortar, the binding between the flagstones, something metal, and obviously we'll assume you kind of sort of have a feel of it, and it seems to be a metal. It's good quality metal. You can kind of sense it hasn't really rusted. You can just feel that. So your best guess would be steel, and as you sort of do it, it's a kind of spoon, a steel spoon. Well done, you've got the first item of this game, a steel spoon.
We're all good guys. We can dig our way to freedom now.
Well, very much. You think that some individual actually attempted that. They didn't get very far.
Okay. Is it easy enough to dislodge and retain? Cool.
You can sort of pull it out quite easily.
Yeah, and I would probably just make sure that there's no, it's not jammed in next to the entranceway of a tunnel that has been dug or anything like that. It's just
Very
nothing
good.
else.
I mean, would I be the kind of GM that gives you a special secret quick way out? Only if you decided to look for it, though. No, he was very unsuccessful in digging his way out, and I mean, maybe he got dragged out because he got caught, or maybe he just didn't succeed. But his infortune, bad luck is your fortune, so it seems for the moment. And with that, hearing the noise, the conversation, everything else, Thorsten, you come into consciousness as well.
Yeah, a little bit separate, and fortunately in his mind, away from the two earlier to consciousness members of the cell. Finds himself pressing his back up against the bars and heading away from the sound towards what may or may not be there for the front of the cell, and finds his back against the door. Does he hear anything else?
No, it's just this conversation going on. You strain for a moment to use your perceptions. There's the sound of dripping. There's the sound of this conversation going on. There is kind of a sound of clanking of chains, but it's not someone struggling to get free. It's just ambient. I mean, on a positive note, there's no signs of or sounds of screaming, of people being tortured. So at least you can perhaps expect a quick death.
Thank you, I think.
Okay.
Unsteadily finds his own feet, Thorsten, and stands pushing towards, if he's facing the door, his right, if there's anything to be discovered.
Yeah, so to the north is the flagstone wall, to the south is the door, and to the east and the west are these bars. The cells that you are in are individual. There's bars separating all three of you. But yeah, there seems to be bars both sides of you, so you expect this is quite a long row of very similar cells. And as Roger has pointed out, with the dripping coming down and this lattice work, great of a floor, quite possibly cells above you as well.
Sorry, just to clarify, are we in separate cells or are we in the same cell?
Separate cells. Your cells are no more than sort of 5 foot, and there's not solid walls between you, but there are bars.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, is there any particular action you want to take, Thorsten, or are you going to listen and wait to hear what conversations the other two have?
Thorsten tentatively speaks out and says, "Well, so you're aware the two of you aren't the only ones awake, but I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And probably worries and fears about what might happen next."
Okay. So, Roger, you can obviously respond to that, but you can also try and do something if you want to try and do something.
Well, is there anyone else awake in the cell next to you, or? I mean, I'm in the middle one of 3 people that are awake, but not sure if there's more in this row.
I've
Yeah.
only heard you and one other voice, so
And certainly because you made your perception, you were looking, that was the action that you took. There was no sound from basically Roger's in the cell to the left of you, and there's nothing in the sound, nothing making a sound in the cell to the right of you.
yeah. I
Well,
think
looks like it's the 3 of us. Have you guys got any idea of where we might possibly be? It's obviously some sort of prison complex.
I was in a market having a debate with somebody about the quality of the food that I just bought, and then I got a pain in the back of my head, and now I'm here.
I
I
fear.
think we should try and get out of here. This doesn't sit well with me at all.
No, this is not what this journey was supposed to be for. Okay. I agree with getting out. Any idea how we do that?
Roger will try and feel his way along the wood, trying to find a lock or.
Okay. So this is good. You begin to explore your cell, kind of try and actually pay attention to the door and everything else for your action. You too can roll me a d12. A 6, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah. You put your hand in it first, and it makes you wonder. It's soft. It's quite squidgy, but it's sizable, and you think twice before doing the thing that everybody always does when they put their hand into it, which is to sniff. And it's not as bad as you thought. It seems that you have located a sort of chunk of mouldering cheese.
Still not good.
Well, mold you can slice off cheese. There might be something edible further down. Way further down.
So you can add that to your gear, a chunk of cheese, unless you want to discard it. But you also find out some other things. The door itself is stout and obviously has bands of iron reinforcing it. There is most definitely a hatch, a small sort of letterbox size hatch about 5 foot up the door that is only really openable from the other side. Doesn't seem to have any keyholes. Your best bet is it's probably bolted shut from the other side as well. As you begin to feel around the grate at the bottom, still a little bit unsteady on your feet. I mean, that could be good or it could be very bad. You begin to realize the grate that you're standing on is, well, hinged against the wall and bolts against the door. If the bolts were to pull free, it would be like a trap door and you would plummet into the darkness below. That is
I convey that information in a slightly panicked voice to the other 2.
It's probably nothing to run at. If like, someone dies in the cell, it'd be a good way to dispose of the body, or if there's any kind of revolt, maybe they can just stop the revolt at the flick of a lever, maybe. So you convey that information and you do your search, and with that we will cycle round to Drago.
first check to see if I can also find hinges and stuff.
Yeah, it seems that
Right.
each cell has their own little grate. So the good news is that whilst they could probably send you all plummeting, they can also selectively choose who to send.
Can I also check that if I can reach it, the roof of the cell that I'm in, to see if there's a similar, or a ceiling rather?
Please tell me, Drago, what ancestry are you?
I'm a half-orc.
A half-orc. They're not known for their diminutive size. When you said half, I thought, oh yes, halfling, half
Oh no.
orc. So, with a degree of difficulty, it's designed so that it is awkward to touch, even for someone of your stature. But sort of climbing a little bit, wedging yourself between the bars and the side of the wall, and a little bit of a leap. You feel around. You're at full stretch, but yes, it looks like they hinged as well from above. And what is worse is, as you touch the thing from above and hit it, you hear, what? What's that? Well, is there someone down there?
Morning. Oh, who knows? Hi.
You're
Yes,
you're
more of
awfully
us.
polite.
Well, I was raised to be that way, and the
Oh,
situation
I've just
dark,
thought
but
I emptied my bowels just a moment. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were down there. Hopefully I missed.
well, it's fine.
No hard feelings then. Can you get me out of here?
I was about to ask you the same thing.
I'm I'm a prisoner here too.
Do you know where here is, my friend?
Oh yes. You mean you? Oh, you need to get out of here. Out of here. But yes, we're. Oh, we're in the dungeons of the Priest King himself. Not his terrible dungeons where they try and draw out the soul to trap it in eternal torment. No, no,
Well,
no.
that's something.
It's much worse than that. We're in the dungeons that are beneath the great arena, the theatre of blood, and well, they've taken everybody around me up. I think I might be next, and then after me, probably all of. Oh, I can hear somebody. Someone's coming. Uh, uh, no, please, no, don't. As you hear the door bolts open, and he is grabbed and dragged away.
Do I hear the door to the cage or to the cell that he's in shut?
Ooh, I think that is a very sensible question, and you hear. It's not so much do you hear. It's not so much do you hear. Would you like the door not to have been bolted shut?
I mean, I still need to work out how to get up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a simple question. Would you like the door not to have been bolted shut?
I'd like there to be an opportunity for it not to have been bolted shut, certainly.
Well, that opportunity can be presented to you if you wish to expend your one and only luck token.
No, I think I'm okay. I'm gonna hold fire on luck. I feel like it's probably going to be more useful later on.
Okay. Well, that was called a bluff, and you've started playing too many games with me because you are lucky anyway, and the door wasn't bolted. There was no need to, was there? I mean, no one's going to escape. There's no one to escape. The door sort of clangs shut, but you're fairly certain you didn't hear any bolts. It was kind of very much manhandled and dragged away.
Okay.
And to the other
Okay.
players, yes, I will attempt to get your luck tokens off you through nefarious means.
Don't do it. Don't do
Okay,
it.
so I think that's your
Yeah.
sort of term for the moment, and we'll just give everybody a spotlight and
Yeah,
chance to
absolutely.
do some things. So, Thorsten, you hear all of this commotion. You now know where you are, and anybody who is familiar with the Theatre of the Blood and the games and everything else, if he's dragged out, you've probably got less than 3 hours before you two are going to be thrown out for the entertainment.
Yeah, Thorsten at this point has his worst fears confirmed, having experienced the city for some time, and the brutality of it on occasion. Had feared the worst, and those fears now realised starts to frantically panic a bit. Wants to jam around the bolts if there's a way to find out a way to unhinge the bolts whilst not then sliding down the chute. Is it a case that all the bolts will open at the same time?
No, it's fairly, as you kind of examine it, the grate
Hmm.
mechanism is different to the door mechanism. The doors are
Okay.
just bolts. As you desperately begin to sort of feel with this, I don't believe that you've rolled a D12 so far.
Not yet.
So give me a D12 roll, please.
7.
A 7. A 7 is different, and you find something. It's like a small hairy caterpillar, maybe an inch or two long. Oh, it's not moving. It's solid. Oh, is that? Are they little claws? Yeah, it's little claws. You think it's like a rabbit's foot,
Oh,
some kind of lucky token that will give you another luck point.
whilst frantically searching the edges of this barred cage and door, Torsten does have the strength to ask, did anybody find a metallic object? My skills lie in the potentially prying open of things, the bypassing of locks, etc.
I
So my
did.
door doesn't have a lock, but I didn't also. I didn't find anything metallic. I just found cheese. I think it's cheese.
I have a spoon. I think it's a spoon. It's certainly spoon-ish.
Would Thorsten have found an opportunity to use such a spoon as a improvised thieves' tool?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, improvised. You could use anything, even the cheese. Wouldn't necessarily be any good, but you could use it. And it's also pitch black as well. So, but do you have any other better options or ideas? That is the thing. Sometimes needs must, do they not?
And in a situation like this, Thorsten would understand that needs absolutely must. So, my good friend of the quiet, polite voice,
It's Drago.
Drago, a experience to meet you. Pleasure if we get further away from this place.
Likewise.
Thorsten, a unusually emaciated dwarf, kind of thin, not particularly healthy looking, not the robustness you would normally expect of the race.
He can't see you, so are you
Oh, that's true.
describing yourself like that? I'm an emaciated dwarf, by the way.
Okay. With confidence issues, so I have to tell everybody.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. This is what's great about this game. We
Yeah.
are a good almost half an hour in or over, and you haven't even got a light source at the moment.
Nope.
Now the question is, do you want to pass the spoon through to Roger, and then from Roger to Thorsten. I mean, it's your spoon.
Is my spoon. Well, if your skills lie this way, and I hope that they do, I can pass this through if all I would ask is that you give me your word that you'll help unlock myself and our other compatriot as well.
Rogar. Yeah.
Rogar.
Again, experience to meet you, Rogar. There is a certain level of honour amongst even the most nefarious. Perhaps I can give you my word. It is on you to do as that as you will.
Well, it's dark and we've got nothing else to try. So here, and I kind of move over to the direction of the voice and kind of stretch through to the other cell in the hopes that Rogar will then pass on the spoon, and I will lose my one possession.
Yeah, I will grope along your arm until I find your hand and carefully pry the spoon away, and then click foot, go over to the other side of the cell and try and find the really skinny, low-level arm
Yes.
and push the spoon in that hand.
Okay, you have the spoon now. You are master of the spoon, Thorsten.
And I hope to find something akin to a hinge, a place that I might jury rig movement of the bolt in the door, or, as I say, if the hinge in the grate can be opened in such a way that I won't immediately fall in, we have at least one exit primed.
The grate, you have no idea how far you're going to fall or drop down, and it seems to be fairly flush with the bars that are coming down. So there's a chance or an opportunity you could hold on to the bars if it did go, but it wouldn't put you in the best of positions. And as I say, you just can't see how far down this goes. I mean, you could drop your spoon down and listen for how long it takes to fall if you want. I'm more than happy to give you some information about how deep it is beneath you if you wanted to do that. I'm guessing that's a no. Okay.
For the moment, at least. Let me try the door then.
Yeah, your best bet is you kind of think being skilled as this is. Now, normally with the tools of your trade, you wouldn't need to even make a roll for this, but it is dark and you have a spoon. So I'm going to actually ask you to make me a dexterity. I think dexterity is fair. I mean, you can argue for something else if you want, but
quite happy. Dex is a good score, and given that I am a by trade thief, by class thief, it does suggest that I would get advantage on rolls for picking locks and disarming traps. So we seem to be in that world.
I mean, we would be if you had these tools and you had some kind of light source, absolutely. But I think it's a solid argument. So I'm going to say make a straight roll rather than disadvantage. We'll meet in the middle, as it were. Really, it's going to be a very short, boring game because you're not going to get out of these cells. But so I hope you do. But we kind of need to play to the challenges that you have at the moment. Plus, you've got 2 luck points, and I want you to use them both.
Okay, well, I rolled a 13 as a dex check.
Okay, straight 13 roll. Just so you know, your rolls don't seem to be coming up. So I don't know. It's not a problem from my side. It's just it'd be great for chat to see them. A 13 is on the nose. A 13 is exactly what you needed. So well done. And you don't do anything super complex here. You haven't got the tools to do that, but you spend a fair amount of time just eking the bolt sort of millimeter by millimeter through this crack with the spoon, until you can get it round, and there's an audible sort of sliding of the bolt, and your door is open now. Obviously, pitch black. There's no light coming from under the door. The corridor beyond is pitch
also
black.
pitch black. Thorsten nudges the door open, and then is there a ground at ground level if I stepped out of the chamber?
You again. The great thing is Shadowdark. You're taking care to leave this in case it's trapped, and you kind of feel there's a solid floor. There's not a grate and there's not a grid here, so it feels like it's almost as if there is a bit of a corridor here, and very rapidly within 5 feet you feel another door directly ahead of you, so you feel that there is a bank of cells, both sort of in front of you and from where you have left.
Then I would make sure to open the 2 cells to my left as they were as I came out, and people will hear, if not yet see, Thorsten's heroics.
Heroics, yeah. Success. You kind of slide the bolt, and I perfectly timed, really, Roger. Your bolt slides open, your door swings open, allowing you chance to exit.
He opens the door a bit further to get his bulky frame through.
Yeah.
Carefully feels with his left foot if there's indeed solid ground, and then with his hands along one side of the wall, oozes between the door and the wall, and carefully, very silently, tries to nudge the door shut behind him, but he doesn't bolt it.
Yeah, okay, so that door is shut. And then we cycle round. You've already stated that you're going to open Drago's door. So, Drago, you hear your bolt slide across quietly, allowing you chance to escape as well.
Yeah, I will cautiously make my way and sort of step out, and again push door 2 behind me. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Now what? We need some sort of light.
We certainly do. Is there any breeze, any movement of air, a clue to which direction to head?
Okay.
Which direction did they take the guy that was above you? Did you hear?
It's a good point. Not only did you hear, but the guards themselves had a light source. You kind of saw. You didn't see much because it was 10 foot up, but you kind of saw the light from a torch, kind of sort of illuminate his cell for a moment as he was dragged out. So you're aware that the jailers here are not light adapted. So that is a bonus in the fact that the majority of the jailers here, you feel, will need light sources to move around. But as you begin to, and it's a good question, sorry, Roger, you do notice from the cell they kind of pulled them out, and it seemed to dissipate to the east, basically.
Let's go the other way, because I think to the east is where we don't want to go. It's probably where the pits are and all the guards and all the people.
Okay. Well, we can see. But what if the other way is just deeper into more cells and unpleasant things? I think, let's be honest, they're all going to be unpleasant things on the basis of where we are. But
I'd like a torch to see and give ourselves near fair chance. Unfortunately, I think that means heading towards civilization as it goes down here.
When I touch the walls between the doors, are there any torch holders?
I mean, that would be convenient, but why on earth would they burn torches to keep the prisoners in light? I mean, especially the prisoners that have a life expectancy of less than 3 hours. You get the impression not even bindings or shackles were used on you, that you are merely entertainments to be thrown, to be stored for a small amount of time and then be dragged up to the arena. And no, there is nothing there at all.
I will follow your guys' lead.
Okay, well,
So to
I
the
feel
east.
like east is the way to go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At least until we have light, and then we can make a more informed decision.
So how would you all? We're going to move you together rather than sort of do it in initiative. We'll stay in the same initiative, but can you describe to me as a group how you plan to sort of move down this quite narrow corridor in the pitch black?
I will definitely be touching one hand to the doors of the cells.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps, for the moment at least, we put a hand on the person in front of us' shoulder, just so that we don't lose each other in the dark, even if we lose our way.
That seems like a fine idea, and finding the even if I couldn't see the size of the half orc in front of me, there is possibly the impression of a larger body, a more robust body. Not
mean, I
suggesting
wouldn't go
Thorsten's
that
going
far.
to hide behind you. I'm going to hide behind you.
Yeah. And it's
Oh boy.
kind of strange because the absence of light, the total pitch black, begins to play tricks on you. You actually begin to think you can see things, that shapes your other senses sort of pick up, and your mind kind of takes that other sensory perceptions and translates it into kind of almost, shadowy images, and you have to concentrate and listen and shake your head. Are you alone down here? Are you not? It takes you a few moments and it becomes apparent. You come to a crossroads of cells. To the south, your eyes play tricks on you, but you don't think there is anything. To the east, continuing, you all think you can see a pallid, dim green glow just coming out from one of the cell doors. A bioluminescence, maybe a trick of the light, some kind of balefire. It's so dim that you don't know whether you are seeing things. It could be something, could be nothing. To the north, though, to the north, I'll come to you straight after.
Yeah.
That looks even more promising. There is a door, a distance up a small flight of stairs, and you can see it's a door because there is the flicker of dim light, torchlight from beneath it. This door framed in the darkness with that dim torchlight. So, Draco.
Looking at the fire or the green glow that may or may not be there.
Yeah.
Having seen the door, I'd like to kind of tell my new friends to pause for a moment and then turn away from the door, close my eyes, try and get rid of that light sense, and then look in the direction of the bioluminescent, or what might be a bioluminescent glow,
Yeah,
and then try and pass my hand over my eyes to see if that blocks it, to try and gauge whether it's definitely there or not.
Okay. You can't believe it. Yes, you think that you're not just seeing things. There is this. It's very subtle, but it's there. It's there. What strangeness, what madness is this?
Well, there might be something. That's a doorway and there's light beyond. That's a thing. But there might be something down here And it might be something that might be useful, or it might be a thing that would let us get out without needing to venture where there are other people holding torches and possibly weaponry.
Investigating the subtle before the obvious.
I feel like that might be a wise move.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, better than confronting them head on in our smalls.
With a spoon between us. Right, So with my companion's consent, we'll head towards the green glow.
Okay. So again, all acting together, you move cautiously and quietly, especially now you know that there is a light source to the north and no doubt more of those jailers behind it, or perhaps even worse. You get to this other cell door and it's just an inch. You can't see into it, but there is this balefire, this pale green light that seems to be coming from this cell. You're going to have to.
The door bolted.
No, the door's about ajar by about an inch. You do know that the door's got these hatches in, so you could try and do that instead of opening the door, or however you want to approach it, really.
I think if we can open the hatch first, just to try and gauge what's in there before we risk full exposure, so to speak. Yeah, so we'll just kind of cautiously open the hatch and peer through.
Okay. Are you going to try and do this quietly?
Yes, I am.
So I'm not going to have this as an opposed roll, but there is something in here that could hear or see this. So I am going to ask one of you to make it'll be a dexterity roll unless you want to argue for something else.
Oh God.
As you try and just move this hatch open as quietly as you can.
Okay. I guess it's me, isn't it? Because I'm doing it.
I mean, you can sort of pass your turn and choose who you want to do it if you want.
Thorsten, you said you were good with delicate things and lockpicking and things. I'm really not. Very, very, very not.
Me neither.
Would you maybe have a peek through?
I was about to interrupt you, my new and potentially good friend. Here's your spoon.
Well, let's hope so. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you.
Do you need a hand up?
I'm not quite that short, perhaps. Yeah. If we'd have said halfling, yeah, maybe. No. I am going to attempt to take a good look through the hatch, and trying to be as discreet as possible.
It's opening the hatch that's the tricky problem. Yep. So just give us a straight dex roll again.
12.
12, yeah. The dice is still not sort of coming up. Are you? Let's have a look. Thorsten's in here.
Yeah, it's rolling.
Yeah. Again, I don't mind this. I'm just going to roll myself. You see, mine are up. Does everybody else want to give us a roll?
Sure.
Yep.
That's me. Yep.
That's you. Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kick you from the dice thing and then let you sort of rejoin again.
Okay.
So if you rejoin again, a 12 is about enough though. So if you just re-click that app, it might. I just want people in the sort of watching the stream to be entertained by your dice as well. You carefully sort of scrape somewhat, and you kind of sort of look in, and you can see within this cell, which is strange because the cell is partially ajar, a man emaciated, and I did use the word see here. Sort of stubble, very thin, gaunt looking, straggly hair that is sort of plastered down with maybe wax or oils or whatever. Wearing rags, very similar to what you must be wearing. No items of use to it. Except not only can you see this individual that is on the floor muttering to himself, you can see through him as well. And he himself is the cause of this balefire, as this thing is ghost-like in appearance. Some kind of apparition, some spirit, some spectre. It hasn't noticed you. Open the thing and peer in.
Thorsten lets his good friend, new friend, know there is something within. But not quite there. Maybe we leave this alone, or it might be able to tell us something if it's not hostile. Thoughts, people? And then steps away and puts his back up against the door of the cell immediately opposite.
And I mean, it's horrible, really, because when you looked in for the first time in a long time, you kind of had a degree of light and vision, and as you kind of move away from the hatch and you move backwards into the Shadowdark that seems to just caress and embrace you, and your vision just goes completely black again.
I would like to have a look through the hatch and see if I can sort of like judge the danger level of what appears to be like some sort of apparition.
Okay, please tell me what skills you have in such a task.
I'm a minstrel.
A minstrel. Okay.
So used to performing to crowds, judge intentions.
Do you often perform to spectral crowds of ghosts?
Nope.
No. But because I'm a nice GM, really.
No, you're not getting my luck point.
Perhaps you have heard tales, told stories, and sang songs about ghosts and the like, and you can draw information from that as you rapidly go through your repertoire to think. And yes, I mean, there are the undead, there are tales of horror and terror, of things that will drink your blood and feast upon your soul, and there are zombies that emerge from the kind of darkness that you are in at the moment. But there are also the other kind of tales of spirits that are bound, that have things to do before they can truly pass on. And looking at this, it's difficult to judge. Vengeful spirit, maybe, or perhaps died without fulfilling a purpose, and without being fulfilled, perhaps just anchored here. And the other thing that makes you think perhaps this thing is perhaps not as dangerous as maybe Thorsten thought was, well, you can see this, the guards must know this is here, so they've not done anything about it. So therefore then, maybe it is just a harmless apparition. Maybe. But there's still a chance that is how it lures you in.
I will say, I think I want to talk to this apparition. Maybe it knows the way out without letting us go past guards. So I
Okay.
carefully ease open the door of the cell and sit down. Well, not sit down because back leg. Bend over.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Even when you open the door, the apparition is moving but doesn't seem to notice you. But as soon as you cross the threshold, it does indeed sort of look up, and it sort of stares at you wide-eyed, and a smile comes across its face. Ah, you've found me. Please, I wish to leave here. Help me. Help me.
I'll try to, friend. Can you get up off the floor? Can you stand up for me?
He kind of rises, and it's kind of a strange thing. This thing has no material form whatsoever. He stands just under 5 foot, a wretched looking individual, and even if this is a reflection of what he looked like in life, he smiles and says, you have shown me kindness already. My name is Carafra, and oh, please take pity on me. I need to pass on. I have been here, it seems, forever.
Is there any way we can help you pass on?
I am useless. Useless. Was useless.
No, you're not.
Still
No, you're not.
useless. I think it is. It must be that. It must be. I was a petty thief. A petty thief. I was no good at that. In and out of jails, never taking anything of any real value, wasting my life away. And then I made it. The biggest score, the thing that would make me wealth beyond belief. Rich I would be, rich. I found a map, a location to the city below, to wealth untold of. I was going to be someone. I was going to be something. And moments after me grasping that, I heard them come. The Priest King's men, looking for victims for the arena. So I coated the map in wax and swallowed it down, on the off chance that they would not get their hands on it. But of course they got me. They brought me here. But so severe was my beatings, and so useless I was in life, I couldn't even make it to the arena, for I died of my wounds here in this cell, and this is why it is my eternal prison.
What if you help us get out of here? You wouldn't be useless then. You would have redeemed yourself.
How can I do that? I cannot leave this cell.
Have you tried?
Yes. Constantly. I cannot leave here. I am anchored to it, my spirit trapped.
Did Thorsten hear enough of this?
Yes, you can hit with, just to clarify, you can all hear this. And we're kind of in a role play segment, so you can all interact out of initiative.
Thorsten, finding a bravery he didn't know he had for the moment, also steps right over the threshold
Mhm.
and says, "I've heard your tale, good sir. You have maybe brought here the only method for us to leave. You will provide use to us. You say you died in this cell.
Yes.
It's an unfortunate occurrence during the body's passing that many of the contents of the body escape the body. You say you swallowed the map. Is there a chance that somewhere in the filth and the slime that probably pervades this floor, that map exists?" And Thorsten, not knowing how, but at the edge of his own desperation, starts looking in the filth for the map.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a huge amount of filth here. The
Good.
grating sort of allows it to drip down to the below, and of course you've studied these, so any filth would have gone down together, quite possibly with the body as well. There's no remains or bones here. These hatches, these sort of gates, are designed to dispose of such things.
Then, unfortunately, most likely, the map has gone with it.
Unfortunately, down.
Well, is down a way out?
Mm,
Is it more viable than trying to
True.
fight our way up
mm.
or sneak our way up?
I think we go to that door where there was probable torchlight beyond, see if it is worth risking a quick scavenge. But yes, I'm thinking it is a more viable exit for us, the unknown, rather than the known. Yes, visit to the games, intentional or otherwise.
Yeah. With the light that's in this room
Yeah.
from our spooky companion,
Yeah.
can I have a look at the grate just to try and see if it's
Yeah,
removable?
it's very, very pale, but it does give you a degree of an idea, and
Yeah.
it's actually quite sturdy. It's hinged into the back wall, and you can see that there's bolts that go from the floor on the outside of the cell into the grate itself. And now that you've got this kind of small degree of light, you can see that it's probably handled remotely. You think there's some kind of contraption rather than you can physically do it from here.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not to say you can't break your way through or attempt to get it open a different way.
I mean, I do have a steel spoon.
Yes, you do. And in this pale light, it glows sort of green, and it's a good bit of steel, that is.
Can then the other thing, having looked at that, can I then, being kind of conscious of the sounds and any sounds of potential approach and stuff like that, can I open the door to the cell as wide as possible to allow as much light to spill out as possible?
Yeah.
And then just kind of try and look at the corridor. Do I see, a nice handy foot-long lever on the wall or anything like that nearby that suggests that might be the mechanism?
I mean, it would be convenient, just like torches
It'd
would
be
be
great.
convenient. But it
But if I
seems
don't
that,
look,
yeah, I mean, yeah, just like you look for the way out in your cell, as someone dug an exit from my cell. I love it. And at some point, I probably would put something like that in an adventure now, just because you'll stop looking for it. But no, unfortunately not. It doesn't give you a huge amount of light, but what little it does kind of makes you think. Plus, we know that Roja has been kind of feeling for torches and stuff all along. And
Yeah.
I would have told you had you felt some kind
Yeah,
of...
it was an off chance rather than a desperate hope.
It's a very sensible thing to do, and I very much agree with it. Now, it is up to you, because I believe, Drago, you are a priest. Is that right?
I am.
So, I mean, you would know that you could just put this person to rest if you wanted to, just by exercising the will of your god. No rolls needed. It's part of the
Sure.
thing. A sort of exorcism of sorts. It wants to leave. If this was an angry ghost or an aggressive ghost, you would have to call upon your powers to turn undead and the like.
Yeah.
But because this is someone that wants to pass, if you feel that this is something that your character would do, I'm just letting you know that you could do that should you wish to.
Well, I would first kind of just
Yeah.
check in with my companions, just say, is there any more we wish to speak with this individual about?
No, I don't think there's any way that we can get him out of the cell if this is like a ghost,
I
like
can
not
help.
being able to leave. Then
I can
nothing
help
we can
them.
do can help him.
Well, I can help them move on, but then
Yeah, but
they
not
will
out
be
of the
gone.
cell to come. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Karafra,
Yes.
if you wish to move on from this place, I can and will help you do that. But before I do, is there anything you can tell us about these unfortunate chambers? Is there anything that you know that might be useful to people like us who are trapped and seeking a way out?
Have you heard any information from passing guards or passing prisoners through the hallway?
Anything you might have that would help us, we would be eternally grateful, and then we will say farewell. And
You will have provided use, which seems to be his anchor.
There is, alas, very little that I can tell you. I was rendered unconscious when I was thrown into these cells, but I have heard conversations throughout the years of my unfortunate unrest, and pieces I have put together. It is hazardous to try and leave this place. Not only does it act as a dungeon for those who are to feed the games with their bone and blood, but they have precautions in case one of the things from the arena makes its way into here. So the way out to the streets of Ib Hayor are well guarded. I know of two things. There is a chamber with the head of a great dragon. It is a relief, yes, a carving, but the guards can cause flame to spew from the mouth. Any in that chamber or down the corridor will be incinerated. But the guards need to be aware of some revolt or some creature. If you were perhaps quiet or the like. It is strange as well. During this time I heard them speak of it is unstable, that the flame is powered by some kind of gas, not oil or wood, but gas. And the only other thing is the actual doors to leading out upon the streets of Ibai, or they are powered by what they call the Wheel of Freedom. It takes 4 people to turn the wheel to lift the blocks of stone that will allow escape upon the streets. I'm afraid that is all I have for you.
Caravra, that is very kind and very helpful. Thank you. And now, rest at last, my friend.
I will sing you a song to aid in your passing.
And whilst a gentle song is sung, I will play or carry out the ritual that will allow the passing on.
And you see him kind of like cinders from a fire, sort of drifting off into the night. You see his apparition dissipate, and there is held upon the air the sound of his last words, which is the map. If you can find it, it is yours. And with that, you are unfortunately plunged back into darkness. And I think that is the perfect time to take a very, very short break, if that is okay with everybody.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. What I'm going to do now is I am going to bring the stream to an end, and then I'll add it together again.
Restart. That's cool.
So, yeah, we'll reconvene in about 5-10 minutes. Okay, everybody?
Great.
Thank you very much for now.
Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome back. It's part 2. Hopefully you've watched part 1, which is attached to this video here. Otherwise, I've not worked out how to do the tech, and it's like 2 different videos and you're very confused, just like I am. Lots of things just happened, including the lights really going out again, and this is where we will pick up on our daring escape from these dungeons below the Theatre of Blood. So, with this successful putting to rest of the apparition, this petty thief that managed to make the finest score before being captured and dragged to this dungeon, you find yourselves with perhaps only one real place to go, towards the door in the darkness, framed with that torchlight. So as we start again, you all move as one back along the short corridor of cells, and then ahead of you to the north you can see this 3-4 steps maybe, and then a small part of corridor, and then this door. It's still pitch black, but you can just make out this door now.
I think one of us should listen at the door to see if there's anyone behind it.
Yes, that definitely seems like a sensible maneuver.
Not me, and I tap my back leg on the floor to remind everyone I make too much noise.
Lawston accepts his responsibility, shall we say, and if could be seen, nods in the direction of the door and says quietly to the group, "I've got this."
Yeah.
We got your back, buddy.
He pads his way as quietly as possible up to the door.
Now again, this is a fantastic mechanic of Shadowdark and a few other games, but you can't be seen. You are a thief. You are skilled at moving in the dark, and you move. The others can't see you leaving their presence, and neither can they now hear you, as you just seem to melt away. You have a good direction to go, this door sort of oddly framed with the torchlight beyond, and you creep up to it and begin to listen. And listen you do, and you pick up voices from beyond. "Ah, God, this is dull. What do you say, Yebby? What do you say? We roll the dice and a few coins. I mean, there's only about 3 or 4 of them left now in the cells. We flip one of the levers and see if we hit one of them. What do you say, Yebby? The other one, a voice like grease. Coins, you say? It sounds fun. Okay, rattle the dice and do your worst. 20 copper that we get one. You hear movement, the sound of a chair being pushed back and footsteps booted across flagstone floors, and then the grating of a lever as it's pulled down. And somewhere within this level of the dungeon, you hear the grinding of metal as bolts are pulled out and the grate crashes down. Do you think we didn't hear a scream? We should go check. Which cell was it? Not sure. Yeah, we'll check.
Okay.
They do say there's something down there. We didn't hear it splash around. It likes to be fed, doesn't it? It likes to be. Let's go check. And you hear the sounds of them gathering their gear and a torch and heading towards the door. You've got plenty of time. You were listening carefully as this played out. So, Thorsten, what would you like to do?
Swiftly but quietly return to where I left my party members, hoping to find them there.
Did you stay where he left you? Okay.
Yeah, at the intersection of the corridor.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I can't even say out of the shadows Thorsten appears because he doesn't. You just, one moment there's nothing there, the next moment you hear a whisper in the darkness. And what does that whisper say?
They've just opened one of the trapdoors, the hinges in the cells. They're going to go and check to see whether they got anybody. We might be able to jump one of them. Let's go and hide now.
Did we hear, because we're that much further in, did we get a sense where the
Yeah.
trapdoor
That's
came
good.
from?
Thurston didn't because he was concentrating on that, but both of
Yeah.
you heard clearly. It was down the corridor to the west, quite possibly one of your cells. Quite possibly one of your cells. Maybe that was a lucky escape.
Let's hide in one of the cells in the corridor where we found the ghost, and then when they move towards our row of cells, we could get to their cubbyhole and perhaps lock them out. Probably a guard door will have locks on the inside as well, right?
Yeah.
can hope.
That feels like the right way to do it. Sneak
So yeah,
past
we
them if
duck
we can.
into the nearest cell, carefully feeling if the grate is there.
Now
Yes.
that you've heard this, well done. You put your foot down, and it is there. But it does feel like you're walking into potential death as you walk into one of these cells, and you know that as stable as it feels under you at the moment, a single pull of these levers can send you plummeting down. You have only a scant few heartbeats though, because you hear the door being unbolted from the other side. This is the door from the jailer's room, and then suddenly light begins to flow out into the corridor. So you go to the east, hide in the various cells. They are not suspecting this, and you are as quiet as the dead, the resting dead rather than the unresting dead. For the first time proper, you begin to see light as you squint out of the cells as the flickering torchlight is carried. Which way? I think it was one of the cells to the west, according to the levers. This way. Are you sure there's only 3 left? Yes. Come on then. Let's make haste. And they come to the intersection, and you see them begin to head down. From your observations from your cells, as you carefully see, you see just 2 individuals, both male. They're wearing scabby leather armor. They've got kind of attached to their belt a kosh. There is some keys, one of them jangling, and they're carrying a torch between them, and they are heading down to where your cells were. Now, you are aware that they're expecting that some of you should be in your cells. It won't be long before they will notice that all 3 of you are missing. What would you like to do?
As soon as they're like maybe 4 or 5 cells down that corridor, I would say, quickly move into the guard post.
Okay.
Yes, I would go as quickly and as quietly as we can.
Well, there's
And
2
I will be
things
last
that,
I will be last in line as well.
yeah, there's 2 things that don't really go together there: quickly and quietly. Quickly and quietly. Which one would you like to choose, quickly or quietly?
Quickly, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, quickly, definitely.
Yeah.
We got a head start on them anyway.
Yeah.
So you time it about right. Once again, clever use, knowing that they're going in one direction, listening out for everything. And you begin to move, but you make noise, and you just about get into the guard room, which does have a singular torch now lit, so light is still spilling out of it. When they hear, and they stop in their tracks, and they turn on their heels. What's that? There's no one. Where are they? And they begin to rapidly begin to try and chase you down. Can we roll initiatives? There is a near distance between all of you, so they're not on you as yet. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to roll initiatives for you as a group. So whoever gets the highest, the players, if you beat the jailers, will go first. So optimally, hopefully you will get something better than me. So initiative is a d20 plus your dexterity modifier. Or that is a good one.
2.
That 2 is not a good one, but the 19. Oh, another 19. You are all on it.
Was that me? That did not show up for me.
Yeah, there was a blue dice that was a 19 and a yellow dice that was a 19.
Okay, well the yellow dice that was a 19 goes down to a 15 because of my dexterity modifier.
That's fine.
I forgot to add it, sorry.
Right.
And mine actually went up to 23 because of my dexterity modifier.
I will, because I like rolling dice, roll this. They don't have a modifier though, so the 23 is going to beat the 5 I've got on the dice there. So you tumble into this room, and it's blinding. Even this dim sort of spitting torchlight is light, and it strains at your eyes as your eyes adjust from the total pitch black to a light source. You can hear hot on your heels guards coming, the jailers. You got the highest, Thorsten, so we'll go with you, then we'll go to Roger, and then we go to Drago, and then we will go to the jailers. What do you want to do, Thorsten?
Desperately looking for a way to bolt the door from the inside. We need to create time and space between us.
Simple
So-
action. You
Mhm.
kind of look at the back of the door. You can close the door, and there is indeed. It seems that they haven't gone super complex with this area. But bolts do the job. You know, you
Yep.
don't need complicated locks and keys in this place, especially when you're opening the doors, you know, every 3 hours or so to pull people out for the theatre of blood. And there is a sizable bolt that you slide across. You do notice there is also a hatch in this door akin to the cell doors as well. So that is your action, to close the door, bolt it shut. You do have a move if you want to move into this chamber. This chamber is not sizable. It's maybe about 20 foot by 20 foot. There is a small wooden table in one corner with a couple of chairs. You do see that there are two passageways that lead from it, one going east and one going west. It is up to you whether you want to move off or just stay in this chamber for the moment.
I call out and say, look for some gear, and then I go see if there's anything that might look like a weapon to hand, maybe a spare club.
No, I mean, why would they have spare clubs? They'd have them carried on them. There is a table, there is chairs. You could attempt to utilize those as improvised weapons. The only thing of any kind of real use is a torch. I mean, are you feeling lucky? I mean, the torch could be in its final moments, or it could just have been recently lit. How do you think we should decide on such a thing?
Okay, Andy, I will happily burn a luck point to have a torch for a full hour.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to burn it, but I want it for the full hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you the narrative. It's just been lit.
Yeah.
So
No, don't give them the narrative.
I am
56.5 minutes.
Yeah. I am starting my timer now. But I mean, you got the rabbit's foot.
Yep.
That is one luck point. Sort of used up, but you've got another one. So I mean, it's not the end of the thing. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out how to use my. Yeah. So we were starting the timer now. I'm starting it at the full hour. But
You
yeah,
are a generous man.
well, I'm not, because it cost you a luck token. But hey, you've got a torch now that, provided nothing untoward happens to it, it's going to last you an hour. So that is your go. That is your turn.
Yep.
We move to Roja.
Roger looks around. Is this a good time to describe our characters now, since we're in full torchlight?
Yeah, it takes scant moments for you to see each other, so I think that's a good point. We like this to be a role-playing game as well, so cinematics and descriptions are very, very important. So it's not going to cost you a turn, but describe what you look like, please.
Roger is a very bulky human with wavy dark, with some grey hairs to his shoulder, and a Dick Van Dyke mustache and beard. He's ruggedly handsome, though pretty scarred. You see his bare forearms, they have scars from knives or daggers or swords. And yeah, he's got this back leg as well, but he's very, very bulky in his upper body strength.
Excellent. And this prosthetic, is it just a standard piece of wood, or is it decorated in any way?
It's pretty simple but well made. It's made of very hard wearing wood. But you see when he walks around that he actually lifts his entire shoulder up in order to move the hip and everything across. So yeah, he's not very dexterous in any way, but yeah, he's pretty bulky, got lots of strength.
Nice.
And yeah, quite charismatic as well in the way he looks, even though he's dressed in rags.
Yeah. The torchlight catches your eyes, and there's a glint and a fire in them. Drago, what do you look like?
So Drago is a solidly built half-orc, and doesn't seem to match the voice that you've been hearing in the dark. Looks much more kind of gruff, growling barbarian in kind of physique than the voice that's been presented to you. But you see in the pose there's something slightly hunched and kind of there's a sense of holding himself in and holding himself smaller than he actually is. Whether that's from a consideration for other people or just a general wariness is kind of up for debate. And as he moves, there's a twist to his arm as it sits and as it hangs from his shoulder, and he has a slight limp in his right leg as well. And you get a sense that there are past injuries that mean that he is also not particularly dexterous. And so, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And then we move the camera as it kind of pans down round and moves to you, Thorsten.
In complete contrast then to my two companions, though quite clearly a dwarf with a beard with a fair amount of grey in it himself, is slight, slender, almost unhealthily so. You would not want to catch him in a knife fight, though. He's skilled with the finesse and the speed. But yeah, it wouldn't take much to punch him out if you did clock him. So definitely an instance of I'll be the gentle, quiet one, and you'll be my strong and hardy backup. And hopefully that keeps us all alive for the moment.
Perfect. So as the sort of time itself begins to slow down as you stumble into this chamber and Thorsten locks the door, and the light, for the first time, your eyes sort of try and adjust to the light, and as that sharpness, that pain dissipates, and you all, for the very first time, sort of see each other, and time slows down as you take in each other's appearances. And then very rapidly, as there a bang against the door, time speeds up again. And Roger, it is your action to do something.
I will have a critical look at the table and see if I can wrench one of the table legs off, so I can have at least a club or something.
Yeah, you can smash this table up, absolutely. It's a simple-ish action. It's how do you want to? You describe to me how you smash this table, basically.
It's just wrenching one of the legs off. So I rest my left hand on the table itself and just grab one of the legs with my right hand and just wrench it upwards, sideways, so it just breaks off near the table.
There's a horrible cracking, like the forearm of bones snapping as you wrench it off. And of course, this is Ibhayor. They do not have such intricacies as screws and the like. There is just this large iron triangular sort of nail now that is sticking out of this table leg that you have wrenched off. It is an improvised weapon, nowhere near as good as something that is designed, but it is better than what you had before. So that is your action, really, to smash up this table and to get hold of that. Are you holding firm in this room as well?
Until everyone is ready to go, and we haven't even decided which direction yet. So
No,
yeah,
no, that's fine. Then we move round to Drago.
Did Thorsten take the torch?
No, the torch is still in a sconce.
Okay. Is it if it is easily removable, I would like to easily remove it.
Yeah. It does have the property of the priest king written up the thing here, but you pull it out.
Pull it out. Sorry.
Can you add it to your gear slot, please, and your load?
Yes, I can. I figure somebody's got to hold the torch, and yeah.
Now,
can I also?
I will just remind you that the torch is quite a stout piece of wood that is lit. So if you wanted to try and hit anybody with it, you would be welcome to.
That was partially my thinking for taking it,
Yeah.
to both be the bearer of light, but also to be the bearer of a fiery hitting stick as well.
Oh, I forgot to mention, if you do though, there's a good chance the torch might actually extinguish.
This is, yes, but I have my trusty spoon.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yes, I'd like to take the torch, and then at the same time, or kind of once I have it, then just give a cast about the room to see if there are, any other torches or, spares, or anything like that, or anything else other than the furniture that's in the room.
No, exactly as I described it, unfortunately.
That's cool.
It's scant. You probably think the jailer's on some kind of rotation or whatever. They don't spend here. Thorsten, you heard them saying, "Oh, we're bored." You can see in the side of the, it will be in the southern wall where the door is. There are quite a large number of levers in the wall. So you can obviously see those as well. And the levers what appear to be metal, but they seem to be very stout, sort of attached to some kind of quite powerful mechanisms.
Are they all up? Is one of them
one
down?
One of them is down. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to turn to my new friends and say, okay, so the ghost said the Wheel of Freedom needs 4 people to operate to open the door to get out. I've never been great with numbers, but I don't think we've got enough. There's also a potential route down, but we now have to get through 2 guards to get to it. But I wonder, do we just put all the levers down and charge, or do we try and escape that way? Out. Do we go out? Do we go up? Do we go down? If we go down, we have to fight our way through. And if we go up, we have to face goodness knows what and fire. And then potentially not be able to open the door at the end.
Throw all the levers anyway.
I start doing it because I like it.
It'll cause chaos and a distraction at least.
Okay.
So is there also one of those, because the ghost also told of this dragon being able to clear the passageways of people by incinerating them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that mechanism in this room as well? Can I see like a big lever saying dragon breath or?
All of the levers are not overly marked. But there is kind of quite a large bank of them. It's going to take you more than a single action. They come down fairly easily, to do it. It's not like, it's going to take me a lot of strength or effort to do it. So you start sort of pulling them down, but there are so many of them that it's going to take you a while. There's probably close to maybe 15 of them or something like that.
Okay. I would certainly start doing some of them on the rest of that turn.
That's fine. So and you can hear the grates sort of coming down. Let's just hope that the gods were right about you being the last 3 in the cells there. Thorsten, you'll go. What would you like to do? So you went first, so there is definitely now the sound of banging on this door, and they are throwing themselves. There is all sorts of profane language being thrown around.
We need to leave. I don't think we take them on. I edge my way down the eastward corridor. I let my new friends know I'm edging my way down the eastern corridor, recognizing that I don't have the light and I might step out into the darkness.
Yes. So east. The east corridor is kind of strange. It sort of goes maybe 10-15 feet, then sort of turns, and it kind of does a little bit of a snaking like that. only for a shortest distance, kind of near. And then unfortunately, because of all of those twists and turns, you sort of enter the darkness again. But just as you do that, at the very edge of your vision, you see some more steps going up.
I yell out, "I found the stairways out," and then wait to see what the
Yeah. So
my
move
companions do behind me.
to Erosia.
I will have a last look at the door, see if there's like a knob or some other ridge on the inside that I can wedge a chair underneath. I think the table had like 2 chairs.
Yeah. So you're going to
Nice.
try and make this door even more unopenable, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a little bit of a stress situation if you want to do it in this single moment. How do you want to go about this? What is this going to be a strength thing of just trying to jam something in, or are you trying to be a little bit more finite about it?
Yeah, definitely like looking around quickly to see if there's anything else I can use to barricade the door and just grabbing a chair and pushing it up
Yeah.
between the
Okay.
flagstones
So no rule needed, but you chuck
and the bolt.
things in the way of this door in the best way you can possibly do to make it even more difficult for them to progress. You still have a move action, so are you going to follow Thurston?
Yeah, I will, and motion Draco to come along as well.
Yeah, okay. So you move up. Draco, are you going to follow?
Yes, I will give up my leave a mischief, and I will follow on with my companions and
So
cast light forward.
you do that, you bring the light round and move it forward, and there's a scant amount of time. You all see, rather depressingly, that the short flight of stairs sort of ends at a small corridor and yet another one of these doors. It has another hatch in, and you wouldn't be surprised if it's another guard room, perhaps one that is akin to the one you've just left. And you sort of do the mental maths and you realize there was a bank of cells above your cells, so maybe this leads up to that area. You can see it clearly now that you've brought the light in. So that is you, Drago. It's up to you, Thorsten, whether you want to proceed with this direction or not. You're on
You
mute.
are muted, buddy.
Apologies.
That's okay.
Thorsten makes for the door.
Okay.
Definitely looking to see if it's locked, see if there's anybody behind it, if he can hear anything. It's
Okay.
Is this?
So with the light that you've got and with the skills of what you do for a trade, you very rapidly, sort of looking at this door, realise it's probably going to be bolted from the other side. It's another guard door.
And then, if I have any movement left, turn around, head back towards Drago, and say, "That one's going to be locked the other way. I made a bad choice."
Okay.
Okay, so you move back into the chamber. Roger.
I will move back to the chamber as well and move into the west corridor as far as I can on a single move.
Okay, yeah, you do that. You move your near and then near again. Do you want to go into the Shadowdark? Do you want to go into the darkness, or are you staying on the edge of the light from Drago's torch?
I would move carefully into the shadows, keeping my free hand on one of the walls, just trying to get a feel if it's only walls or doors, or and keeping my club ready.
It's not really a club; it's a chair.
Improvised.
I just want to clarify, exactly what you've got. It's strange stepping into the darkness. People think that that's quite comforting, As you look back at the light, you can see your two companions getting ready, spilling into this room, and you feel the embrace of the darkness. And I mean, let's face it, it's not really the dark that is the problem. It's the things that lurk in the dark that are the things that are adapted to it and kind of can sense you quite clearly, whereas you have no idea that they are there. In the meantime, Drago, what do you do?
Continue on
Okay.
and just move.
So with those horrible thoughts, Roger, the light washes over you again, and there's a sense of relief that there is nothing standing there in front of you. The corridor carries on and then sharply bends to the south. It seems somewhat to be sloped downwards. At the end of your turn, Drago, the door bangs again, and I get to roll some dice this time. Ooh. So this is going to be another D20 roll. Oh, that is quite nice. These jailers do have a degree of strength, and one of my favourite movies is The Shining, as one of the boards in this door gives in, and you kind of see a half hand and half face. I'll get you! I'm coming for you! We're coming for you! And you see his hand reaching for the bolt somewhat. That was on their turn, so we move to you, Thorsten.
Book it. Time to not be here. Right to the edge of the darkness, and if there's any movement left, I guess I use a bit of that as well, just to be safe.
Yeah, you're just going, and it turns to the south, and you sort of descend into the darkness, and then we move to Roja.
Roja is torn in two. He looks at this improvised weapon in his hand and at the arm sticking out of the door, and he definitely wants to connect nail with hand. And just looks at his companion and said, I'm gonna whack him. And he moves back in the room and just whacks this improvised weapon as hard as he can on the arm sticking out of the door, trying to feel for the bolt.
Okay. He's kind of looking through the door, so he's not oblivious to this. In fact, he's trying to examine the room. So you can see this. What I would like you to do is give me a melee attack roll. I'm not going to impose disadvantage because it's an improvised weapon, but I am going to limit the damage somewhat. Oh, that is nice, though. I'm assuming it's nice. I'm assuming you have some kind of modifier to that.
Yeah, it's 15 plus 3.
Okay. So you easily collect. He's got a degree of cover, sort of being sort of behind the door, and you're kind of trying to hit a small part of him, but you horribly slam this improvised weapon down upon him. Now, I'm going to say this improvised weapon's only going to do 1d2 damage, but I did mention it had a large nail through it. If you wanted to spend that luck token, I would allow you to impale his hand to this side of the door with the weapon, as well as doing the damage.
That would mean losing the weapon.
Well, for now. I mean, I would allow you to sort of staple his with the nail and then maybe snap it off again if you wanted to. I mean, I'm not going to be that.
Yeah, I'm going to do it, because if he can't use his hand, he won't be able to work the bolt, and he's blocking the door from his mate.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a good a win for you, absolutely. So I mean, this is grotesque. Roll your d2, so just roll any dice and we'll halve it.
Not quite the same as a D2. Roll your D20.
Yeah, that's right.
Half a point.
So yeah, it's either one.
Yeah,
or
it's
two.
one.
So you do a single point of damage, but what is more important is this 6-inch nail kind of goes right through his hand and staples his hand to this door. And as much as he kind of wants to try and just rip it out, it's agony to him, and his arm is stuck through the door. He's pinned towards the other side of the door. His jailer friend is cursing and trying to get him out of the way. It's certainly slowed them down, and as I said, you can easily pick up yet another bit of broken table, or just break this one off with part of your weapon still stapled into there, whichever you wish to do.
Yeah, I will move to the table and get ready to rip another leg off the table.
Now, I mean, there's a decision here, really. You've done a little bit of damage. You could carry on hitting this poor jailer's arm until you do so much damage that he expires. But you've certainly brought yourself substantially more considerable time by doing this. That is the decision that you need to make, and you're more than welcome to communicate it to the rest of your group. So, for instance, Drago and Thorsten know what they're supposed to do next.
Yeah, I will explain that I've managed to block the guards from entering this room. So we got a little bit more time to carefully explore the west passage.
Yeah. Okay. So Drago, we move to you.
Well, that being the case, I think I will just push forward,
Okay.
try and see where west goes.
So the light source disappears as you move down the west, and it kind of exits this chamber. You are enveloped in darkness against Roja, which is quite good because they don't see you there. You can follow the light on your turn, but you do hear, they're taking the light to the west. They're going down to the midden. The thing that lurks down there will have them anyway. We need not worry. You hear those words as one screaming in pain with the stapled hand, but a degree of a warning, and that's their go as they're trying to get through this door, but to no avail. Thorsten, your go. You didn't hear that, it was only Roja.
Yeah.
Are you carrying on with Drago spilling downwards? Yeah.
Yeah. Feels like the only way out, regardless.
As you spill down, it's getting damper down here, and the stench, the stink, is almost overwhelming. As you move your full move to try and get out of here as rapidly as you can. Roja, you are now in the darkness, a dangerous place to be. Are you going to follow up with the others?
Yeah, I will move as fast as I can after I've ripped the table leg off.
Yep.
And I go, guys, I just heard him say that this goes down to the midden heap and something's alive down there.
Okay, fun.
So for the moment, they are the jailers attempting to get through, but they're not particularly chasing you down anymore. You put a degree of distance because you have separated yourselves from them, and you wind down this passageway a little bit further. So we are now out of direct initiatives, giving you a small amount of time to decide what your next move is going to be. As the torch burns ever lower and you descend down into this midden, what would you like to do?
Got to keep pushing on. I don't think we stand a chance going out upwards.
Yeah.
There must be all this waste is going somewhere. Unfortunately, it feels that we might have to follow it for its worst, whilst looking out for that map.
Yes, that too. I think it's probably a stupid idea, but if it's a stupid idea, they might not follow us.
I hope whatever lurks down at the midden heap likes cheese, because that's the only thing I have to bribe it with.
I mean, we can hope. And it might, if it's undead, then I might be able to do something about it. But in the meantime, I think we don't have a choice but to head forward.
Do you want me to go in front, with the improvised weapon?
Yes, please.
If you're happy and I can follow behind with a torch so that we've got light before and after us both.
Yeah, I think that might be the best way to go about this. I'll try and be as quiet as possible, but, tick, tick.
I think let's steady and as quietly as we can without losing speed, because speed is going to be important for the time being.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to try and stealth. You're not skilled with this, so I am going to ask you to give me a stealth roll. There isn't a stealth roll in Shadowdark, it's just a dexterity check, please.
Do you want me to use disadvantage because of the peg lag, or?
No, I think the penalty of what your dexterity is
Yeah.
enough of a penalty.
And are we each rolling individually?
No, because Roger is going ahead somewhat, so
Okay, cool.
I'm figuring if Roger can make this,
Ooh, 14.
14 is good. You sense there is some kind of real danger down here, and you focus and concentrate. And let's face it, if Roger can do it, so can both of you. So you move down. Shadowdark's not a game about making lots and lots of complex rolls. It's more a case of moving smoothly. One of the reasons why perhaps you don't make as much noise with your prosthetic leg is, well, soon the corridor itself starts to be wet, and then there is a substantial amount of liquid as you start wading through it. It doesn't take long though before it twists round and enters a much larger chamber. In fact, so large that your light doesn't fill it at all. You do though look upward, and looking upward you can see the dangling grates opened up of many of these cells of the levers that you have previously pulled. And the distance down here would perhaps been enough to kill you with just the fall, 30 feet or so. What you can also see is underneath all of these cells are piles of excrement and the remains of bodies that have fallen down here. Not just those that didn't survive their incarceration, but also you can see the remnants of the bodies of the unfortunates that were thrown into the pit that weren't entirely devoured by whatever monstrosity was the pet of the day. Their remnants have been thrown down here as well. As you take in the scene, there is a smattering of hope as you do notice numerous pipes leading from this, some far too small for even the smallest halfling to go down, some blocked with, well, the remains of various individuals that have been sucked and just blocking up, others flooded. Who knows how far they'll go. A good investigation of this place though just might give you some kind of escape.
Do we want to? We can probably see the east and west corridors and the corridor to the guard room where we nailed the block to the door. So we know the location of the ghost's cell. Do you guys want to carefully check it out? I would suggest sticking close to the wall until we reach the cell's location.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think let's look below it if we can. Yeah, and then once we've had a thorough search there, expand outwards to try and maybe some of the pipes and things to see if there's a route that will take us away.
Yes.
I mean, a fantastic idea, Roger, rather than wading through all of this searching, going to where it might have done. And you're perfectly right. You can kind of work out the layout of which ones do, and you begin to wade. I mean, knee deep in places, but there are piles of filth that can lift you above the water level. And I say water, but we all know it's not really water, but sometimes waist deep as well. You skirt around the edges of this large chamber, and as you know, it is only a matter of time that you alert whatever lurks down here, and alert it is as something touches one of your legs. Who though? Who indeed? We will let the fates decide. I didn't announce it, so I'm gonna re-roll it again, but it would have been you, Thorsten. So 1 to 2, it's Roger. 3 to 4, it's Drago. 5 to 6, it is Thorsten. 1 to 2. So sorry, it has chosen you instead. You feel something touch your good leg. It doesn't wrap round you, doesn't pull you under, but you could swear that something has just moved and touched you. You have no idea what it is. Something beneath this fetid liquid.
My first instinct will be to smash down my improvised weapon to where it touched my leg, so right next to my good leg.
So you smash it down. You can't even see this, but you start smashing. Is it a single smash, or do you go wild just trying to flail and hit this thing?
Just a single smash.
Okay, you smash it down. You don't seem to connect with anything. And then erupting out of this mire, a terrible thing. Something unspeakable, stumpy, kind of 3 legs with barbed tentacles and a vast number of mouths erupt from this filth. Can we roll initiatives, please?
Eesh.
10.
Okay, we're going to do this the same way again. So 10 is what's the highest there?
17 for
17.
Thorsten, yeah.
So Thorsten, you're going to lead the way, but this thing might get lucky. This thing is lumbering, ill-shaped, and not at all dexterous. So it has a -1 to its dexterity, but who knows what we might get here. That was almost a natural 20. But it is a 10 - 1 is a 9. So this does mean that you, the protagonists of this thing, get a chance to perhaps flee or try and take this thing down. Thorsten, Roger, and Drago, as this thing erupts from the filth, the torchlight that you are holding up, Drago, it glints for a moment, and you notice stabbed into the side of this beast is a sword. Not elegant, somewhat rusted, but a sword at least, a long sword of sorts, seems to have been wedged into this creature and causing it a large amount of discomfort. Thorsten, what would you like to do?
Going to be brave, going to be potentially stupid, but I'd rather do something, and I've got 2 empty hands right now.
Mhm.
I charge at the beast from the depths,
Yep.
and attempt to wrench this sword in such a way as to twist the knife, as it were, and continue to cause as much damage as possible.
Oh.
So you're attempting to push it in rather than pull it out.
Yeah, push it in, wrangle it around, twist it, do some,
Oh.
yeah, all the possible pain I can manage.
But what if
Okay.
it's a lion with a thorn in its side?
Well,
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
I mean, that's a nice thought. This thing looks aberrant, monstrous, but I mean,
If
you
it was fluffy, I might have given you benefit of the doubt there.
Fair. That's very
but
fair.
this is a direct attempt to cause some damage to it, so it
Yeah.
feels fair that you're gonna have to make me an attack roll. What I will say is that because this thing has it in it already, I'll give you advantage on this attack roll, because all you need to do is get to it and grab it and shove it in a little bit more. So yeah, make that roll, please.
Is this a strength or dex attack?
This is unfortunately a strength attack. This is
Yeah.
a longsword rather than the finesse weapon.
Well, I'm glad you gave me advantage there, Andy. That's a 19 flat.
Okay, that is enough. What you need is you epically. I mean, this is the thing that I love about these dark fantasy books, these Conan books. There's a creature that is monstrous and can easily tear mortal man apart, or dwarf in this case, and you leap through the air and grasp at this thing, shove it into it a little bit more. I believe a longsword is 1d8. Is that correct? I can look up the weapon damage if need be.
That'll do.
But I think it is 1d8 for a longsword. Or 5 points of damage.
That's
Okay.
pretty good.
It's very good. I mean, if this wasn't such a powerful monstrosity, it would be dead. But this thing writhes in agony as you are holding onto this blade for your very life. It's done severe amount of damage to it, but this thing is not finished as yet.
Understandable.
We will move to you, Roja.
If the creature is focused on me instead of Thorsten.
I mean, Thorsten's really drawn its attention at the moment, leaping at it and shoving this blade into it. The tendril, the tentacle underneath has recoiled somewhat and has kind of risen out of the fetid water like some unholy serpent that is looking ready to strike and rip apart Thorsten. So yeah.
Does my new improvised weapon also have a nail in it?
Why not?
In that case, I will try and hit the tentacle and try and avert the attention of the beast.
I'm just curious. If it didn't have a nail in it, would you have done something different?
No.
Okay. Well done. You played me there. Okay. So give me an attack against this creature. Oh.
First one of the evening.
It is the first one of the evening, and I believe a critical hit. I mean, obviously it's going to hit anyway, but a crit does the max amount of damage. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
I'm just trying to find what critical hits do. I wasn't overly expecting to get one. mm,
Delighted to be a disappointment.
yeah. I believe when you roll a critical hit, it doesn't double the damage. It just does the max amount of the attack that could have happened.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Okay, so we will say with the nail and stuff, this is a combination of a club or a dagger. So there isn't different types of damage in this. So we will call this 1d4 damage, but it is the maximum amount of that damage. Have you got anything that would increase that at all with your talents?
Yeah, I do actually.
Well, please tell me about it.
No, I don't. Sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
I had a +1 to attack and damage, but I had to choose a weapon type with it, and this
no,
is not the weapon type.
You didn't choose
And-
table leg with nail in.
No, and I'm not going to tell you which weapon type in case you avoid me getting one.
Wow! Now, would I do that if I'd known? If you'd said, Andy,
I know you.
then there would have been a million of them. So you do maximum amount of damage. You do 4 points of damage, as far as I'm concerned. And because it's a critical hit, if you so wish, you've drawn the attention of this thing to you.
Yeah, definitely. I will move in like a wide gesture and like even visually try to attract attention as well as with the hit.
You managed to find a very weak spot and managed to impale it with this nail, sort of slamming it down as black ichor oozes from the wound. Then we move to you, Drago.
Punch it.
Does it look alive? Does it have any sense of being reanimated?
Yeah, this is not an undead. This is.
It was worth an ask.
No, absolutely. I mean, if you want, I could put a few zombies down here as well for you.
No. Don't trouble yourself. I don't want to cause you any issues, mate. It's fine.
No, that's okay.
Okay. I am. Oof. Sorry, I'm just
That's
trying.
okay. No. This is
Burning torch time.
Yeah. Okay, I am going to.
I would like to point out that this is a very damp and wet environment. The dropping of the torch or the splashing of the torch in water would plunge you all into darkness.
Yeah, I am going to hold the torch higher, and then I'm going to cast. So here's a technical question: If do I still have my holy symbol on me?
No, you don't. But as far as I'm aware, you don't need a holy symbol to cast magics or a focus or anything like that.
The turn undead, I do.
Yeah.
Which is
lucky,
useful
really.
The thing now, isn't it? It's not undead. It's good. In which case, I will attempt to cast Shield of Faith on myself.
On yourself. Okay. I love it. That is fine.
Because range self suggests I can't cast it on somebody else.
Okay. So
would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, if range is self, then you can only. I need to read the rules basically, but
yeah, because my instinct would be that like it's either close or touch. I don't know if touch applies in Shadowdark, but that would suggest I can.
So yeah, there's close, there's near, and then there's far. So if the range is self, it does mean that you can.
It is literally only me. Yeah, so I would do it to either of the other two, but I can't, so I won't.
Okay.
Yeah. And the wording of the spell Shield of Faith specifically says
surrounds you. Yeah. Yes, so I think I have to.
It's very important to ensure that the person that is not in combat has even more protections.
I'm holding the torch, and I'm gonna help on the next one. I'm
not criticizing. I'm loving it.
Right.
Don't let the priest go down anyway.
No, not at all. not at all.
I can also potentially help afterwards.
This is the
it
priest
is.
that doesn't have light.
I'm praying the other obvious choice has been made.
Well, we will see in a moment.
Yes,
so you need
it's
to
called
make.
Conjure Ladder.
Yeah,
No.
you
So
need,
yes,
yeah. Give us a spell casting. It's a level 1
which is
spell, so
D20 plus my wisdom.
correct.
So
At least that was not a 1.
at least it wasn't a 1.
It's okay. I mean,
Oh,
you mumble around. You can't cast Shield of Faith again until you have a long rest. But hey, at least you're not in combat.
You use your luck point yet?
I did not use my luck point. I don't want to waste it on protecting myself. I'd rather waste it on an opportunity to heal one of you two or myself or hit the thing.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll pass the turn, if that's
Yep,
okay with
that'll
you. And
do.
I believe it is my go.
Yes, I am. As far as movement is concerned, I will just try and position myself to be close enough to support my allies
Perfect.
without being in immediate danger, basically.
Yeah. Well, this thing is going to raise up a tentacle, and it's going to attempt to hit you, Roger, due to the fact that you impaled it with a critical and have tried to draw its attention to you. The good news is this is an OT Yug spawn rather than a older version. So it will roll a tentacle attack against you, which is a D20 plus 1 to this. Oh, that is a critical
Oops.
hit. Oops, indeed. So that is the maximum amount of damage it can do with its tentacle. The good news is this would have been 1d4, so it will do 4 points to you. What is your hit points?
7.
7, okay. Not enough to take you down. As this tentacle, though, critically hits you, wraps you around and squeezes you for 4 points, it unfortunately picks you up and slams you down into its mouth as it attempts to bite you. But this thing has 2 attacks. It is a most dangerous foe. Has plus 1 to this as well. Let me get those because I just rolled 2d20. That is
A 1.
what the Shadowdark gives. It also takes as it's critically hit you. Something very unfortunate has happened here as it flays around and tries to sort of bite you. It sort of twists and slips, and just like a crab, it kind of turns itself upside down. These 3 stumpy feet sort of trying to get out. It drops you, and you are sort of in the water. It's not water, but it has released you. And what I will say with that critical failure is that it's going to miss its next turn. Okay, so
Nice.
damn me for being clever and giving it 2 attacks. Had I not been so greedy, I would have had a critical hit. And pleased, Thorsten, this is a critical moment. Can you all as a group finish this thing off? What would you like to do?
I'm going to continue to drive the sword blade within it, probably trying to do the kind of dragon push motion, cut into its flesh as deep as possible.
Beautiful. So again, if you are doing that, I'll let you have advantage on your attack, if you see what I mean, because it's already in.
Yep.
If you were going to pull it out and then sort of swing or hand it off to somebody else, it would be another attack. So yeah, just give us an attack with advantage. It will be strength though.
That's fine. It's a flat roll of 16.
That is more than enough to hit. Give me another D8 damage, please. Very nice. Together with the crit hit and with the previous damage, this thing is looking bad now. It's flailing around, but it's still got life in it. Roger, what would you like to do?
I stagger out of the muck, hair all plastered to my head and my shoulders, and my tunic and trousers all like too dirty to mention. I lift up my improvised weapon with nail again and try and slam it down as close to whatever counts for its head as possible.
Okay, give us a go.
$17.
Yeah, that hits as well.
Another D4 for damage.
Yeah, please. That
4.
is a 4. How do you want to finish this thing that should be unkillable off?
As the improvised weapon with nail slams into its head next to where its beaks or mouths are all are, it basically caves in the skull beneath, and it just sags in on itself, shudders once, and just slowly slides beneath the water.
Very good. This thing enters sort of death throes and throws much of this filth about, but it eventually comes to rest. It is at this moment that you notice that you are bleeding, Roger. Before you get to go, Drago, bleeding in this filth is a bad thing. Can you give me a constitution roll, please?
Yeah, made it.
Critical hits. Okay, we're still out of combat initiative, but Drago, you do get to go next, and you can see that Roger is badly wounded.
Yeah, and I will immediately approach and attempt to cast Cure Wounds.
Go for it.
So I roll to see if I cast first. +2. Need to get 11 or more. Don't.
So that's a 9, which is a fail.
It is. Can I try again, or am I screwed now?
You can use your luck point to re-roll that.
I will use my luck point to re-roll that. Let me get rid of that before I forget. Come on. Come on. Oh, no, I'm adding too much. Hang on. That. Try that.
No. It seems your god is not with you, as most of your clerical abilities have faded now until you take a rest. Fortunately, you don't have to do any penances. But you still have the torch. Well, I say you still have the torch. You still have the torch for a scant few more moments. You see it burning low now, and you all see it burning low as you realise you have but a few minutes before you are going to be plunged into darkness again. What would you like to do?
I will limp over to the carcass and pull the sword out and hand the club over to whoever wants it.
Wow.
The improvised weapon with nail.
I mean, Thorsten, you are holding the sword at the moment. It's still in the body of this thing.
Oh, I'm stepping away from it. I don't want anything to do with it. Noticing how little torch there might be to burn, we don't want to be down here in the darkness. Let's use what little time we've got, and we need to go. Try these exits, tunnels.
Will the leg burn? It's made of wood.
The table leg, not my leg. The table leg.
Yeah, no, not your leg. You need your leg. The table leg.
Specify next time.
Apologies.
Thank you.
I love it. The simple answer is no.
Fair
The
enough.
simple answer is if you've got wax or paraffin soaked material that you could wrap around to fashion a proper torch, then it would burn. But simply trying to light a piece of table leg is not going to. It's not going to.
It was worth a try. Yeah.
So,
Then
I mean, are you going
frantic
to?
search.
You going to search for an exit, or are you going to try and search for this body?
Yeah, for the map.
Have we got time to do both?
Almost certainly not. No.
It depends on how lucky you are, I guess.
I will take the time to look at a large pipe exit and tell the others to search the pile for the body of the ghost.
Okay.
And when the torch goes out, hopefully I will have found something that looks promising and I can call them over.
Okay.
So that's what you do, Roger. Drago, what are you going to do?
Quickly listening to this logic, I will shrug and agree and start casting around with the torch, as in waving it around, not throwing it. Just trying to gauge where the body was likely to have dropped and see if I can find any traces of any wax-coated paper that might be an interesting map.
So Roger came up with a good idea of the area to search, but the spirit said it'd been a good amount of time, a very good amount of time. So this is going to be an interesting one. It's not going to be automatic, but you could certainly give me a wisdom roll to see if you can spot anything. I mean, it's a filthy job as you plunge your hands down into this mire, searching around, trying to feel for the smallest amount of parchment.
Wish me luck, guys. This hasn't gone very well so far, but okay, that's 16.
16. Beyond all belief, having been told about this, having failed your god seeming not to listen, as you perhaps let out one last call to your god to at least turn this day into something of some kind of worth, or perhaps the green baleful light that seems to spark. Oh, the torch has just gone out. You are plunged in darkness as the torch finally goes out. But there is this speck of baleful light you pick up on amongst the water just as the torch flickers out, and you grab this piece of parchment, perhaps guided not from your god, but by the remnants of the ghost. You are plunged once again into darkness, a place that you've become all too familiar with.
Okay, I think I found it. Tell me you found a way out, please.
Have I found a way out?
Well, you found a pipe that is going to lead out of this chamber. Exactly where it leads, well, there's only one way to find out.
I will keep talking in as low voice as possible to be heard by the other two, so they can make their way carefully over to where I am. And I will have cleared the dead bodies away from the entrance.
Okay, you begin to make your way towards the voice of Roger, and whilst you can't see each other, it would have been almost nigh on impossible to take a torch down this pipe anyway, so damp and filth ridden. You all take a deep breath of that horrible fetid air, and you begin to crawl down this pipe. Where it leads, well, that's another story to be told at some point, and that is where we will leave it today. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. That was an amazing fight at the end. I was not anticipating you succeeding. Some succeeds in that. Thank you very much, Cass.
The only thing that saved me was the natural one.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's why I like open dice rolls.
Yep.
You all know that I'm a big fan of those, and it's so easy for sort of viewers or even players to go, oh, he's fudging the dice here, and I like the challenge of writing a scenario that then the dice can help tell one way or another with variants, and it was magnificent. And had I not been greedy and gave the creature just a single attack, then I wouldn't have rolled that natural one anyway. So we'll just quickly go round and hear your impressions of Shadowdark, the setting and the scenario. Truthful, I'm very curious, and then we'll say good night to everybody and thanks for watching. So we'll start off with you, Matt.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. And really nice to play kind of pure Shadowdark, for want of a better term. So really enjoyed the scenario as well, and the setting has got a real kind of, it's that whole feel of the Conan and the Hyperborean age and all of that sort of stuff that just it evokes a lot of that immediately, which is really, really nice. And this kind of the simple idea of you just got to get out of this place within a time limit is nice as well. So yeah, great fun, and looking forward.
And we move across to you, Malcolm.
Yeah, similar. Very much enjoying getting to know some more bits from Shadowdark itself. Very much looking forward to a chance to dig into the full core rulebook now that they're out. Encounter design is going to be challenging for this game, and I think that's going to be something that's going to be really interesting to see from both sides of the table as I start to write for my group as well. This evening, great to meet some new players to enjoy the experience with. So thank you for running.
No, I think you're 100% correct. You have to completely change your mind, especially if you play more modern sort of Pathfinder or sort of battle orientated games, because it's not about the fighting here. It's more about solving the problems and how you can sort of move on. And I found that very, very interesting. And I'm going to send, obviously, Matt the document, and we're going to have it written up. And when you actually get to see that, you'll see that there were so many different potential things that could have been done, and there's no rights and wrongs. There's no, well, this is the solution. It's really interesting to see people explore kind of the toolbox that they're given to solve the situation, the problem, which is how do we get out of here before we are thrown to the monsters in the arena. And last but not least, Natasha, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It's very, very easy to imagine what everything looks like. So Theater of the Mind is really easy for Shadowdark for me to see, well, in my mind, what it's supposed to look like, and the darkness as well. I'm really curious as to how the encounter would have played with pulling out the sword and feeding it the cheese, which we never got to do.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's where my brain was going as well.
I mean, it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, I made you roll d12s, so it was a random table of things that could be found. You might never have found cheese, so it's very much an interesting one, which is why I'm keen that once the document is done, you can kind of see the nuances. But for me, I genuinely believe that Shadowdark is you make of it what you can with the resources that you've got. So I didn't really have any answer of will this thing like cheese or not like cheese. Will the guards like cheese? Will one of the guards actually be a connoisseur of cheese, and suddenly this has an ancient mold upon it that is just like such a rarity? And I like that if players can come up with really creative ideas of how to use these things. it changes the story, but who cares as long as a good story is being told, you see. And I certainly, Scott, go on.
It does seem as if your decisions have more weight to it than with D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think so. Well, it is late. We've played a fair amount of Shadowdark. I've really, once again, enjoyed it very much, and I'm sort of not surprised, but I'm really pleased with the amount of role playing we did as well. You know, there was a lot of characterization within such a sort of simple sort of concept, really, which is escape the dungeon. And I really enjoyed seeing all of the characterizations sort of come. And it wasn't till sort of the second part of the stream that you actually got to see what each of you look like, which is crazy when you think about it. It's very entertaining. So yeah, I'm sort of super stoked by it. But thank you very much. It goes without saying. Hopefully, if you're watching this this YouTube video, let us know what you think. It might not be the Shadowdark that you envisioned, or maybe it's taken it in a different direction. We're trying to play it as pure to the rules as I've interpreted. But if you have enjoyed it, please give us a like and a subscribe, because it really makes a big difference to us, and it will make me very, very happy. So without further ado, we'll all say goodbye to you, and thanks for watching. Who knows, we might do another one of these things very, very soon. It's goodbye from me, and just everybody say your goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye from us.
Very well.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe and keep those torches lit.